It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Roberta, I'm sorry. The door's open. For those of you watching on YouTube, Spotify, for those of you who watch, thank you so much. Welcome to the Sean Widmer Podcast, the year 2026. First podcast of the year is going up. Happy New Year. Is it? Did I do one? I already did one, didn't I? Second podcast up. I already did one this year. Good night. First podcast since the Seahawks clinched the number one seed in the postseason. There we go. That's what it is. They could just stay. They could just stay Pacific Standard Time all the way through. Super Bowls on the West Coast. They could just do a West Coast, Best Coast tour. We got to talk Stranger Things today. I probably will get spoilery, so that will be at the end of the podcast. Thoughts on Stranger Things. The thoughts on Stranger Things will start non-spoilery, and then I will let you know when the spoilers are coming. So that will end the podcast. So you can listen to the podcast up until I say, here come the spoilers, and then bail out if you haven't seen Spotify, or if you haven't seen Stranger Things yet. Did I tell you how my year started off? Unbelievable how my year started off. I don't think I touched on this in my first podcast of the year. I need to look. When was my first podcast of the year? I'm starting to get psycho in that world. Happy New Year, January 1. Oh yeah, okay. All right. This is your number one Wordle podcast in America, your favorite 15-minute podcast, and the number one podcast that talks about Wordle. On my first podcast of the year, I talked about the fact I finally got Wordle in one. I'd been running with the word fruit for 2 years, and I finally got it, nailed it, feeling good. Streak was at like 48 days. It's great. 3 days in to 2026, I missed, maybe it was 4 days, Philly, F-I-L-L-Y, missed it. So I thought maybe 2026, I'd get this Wordle in one. 2026 is going to be a year of perfection through Wordle. Nah. Humbling, 4 days in, run into Philly, and that was it. Streak's over. Restart it. Will not have a perfect year. What a bummer. Hold on just a second. I got to sneeze. Nope. I always feel like I have to sneeze during the podcast, and I don't. We're going to see how the audio sounds today. Right behind the camera, I've got my 3D printer going. I run my 3D printer nonstop. It's always running. If you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, I've got some of the stuff. I've been printing these boxes that I'm holding right here, these boxes. Now, the main thing I print are minis that I'm holding right here, some sick minis, this like dragonborn dude with a big old sword. The sword on his back broke off when I was taking off the supports, but I've just been printing like crazy. I love it. And I moved the 3D printer from the room out where their TV is because now, it's back to just being a living space. And I've moved the 3D printer in here, but it's running right now. I didn't think about that. And it's running while I record the podcast. So you just hear. So I'm sorry if that bleeds through on the podcast. That will be rather annoying. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, your number one Wordle podcast. The streak has restarted, and now it's time just to get back in, hunker back in. Don't let the bump in the road dissuade you from the goal of 365 days in a row of perfection. It's just not going to be in one calendar year. I'm going to have to run it from now until the very beginning of January 2027. So that the year streak resets, and we just got to keep plowing through. You can't quit. Don't stop. Don't be defeated. And to those of you who cheat at Wordle, shame on you. To those of you, and I know you're out there because I've met some of you who get to 5 of your 6 guesses, and then you panic that you're going to miss the 6th one, and you Google it, you look it up, and you pretend like, I would have known that. Shame on you. Shame. Allow yourself to feel defeat. That's what keeps it interesting. I mean, otherwise, we could all just Google it every day and get it in one and be like, yeah, I've got a streak of 600 days. I got a streak of 600 days. I'm never really impressed when someone comes up to me, if I had someone come up to me with Wordle and they're like, yeah, I've got it right for 700 straight days. All I heard was you lied. That's it. Everyone runs into one. Everybody runs into one that gets them. So I don't believe the people who are over 200, 300. I know someone's going to message and be like, no, Sean, I promise. Well, you didn't. You didn't. You cheated along the way somewhere, even if it was at the beginning. Well, no, it was only like 20 games in I cheated. Well, that's, you cheat. I mean, just streak nullified. All right. Your number one Wordle podcast. Thanks for listening. I did want to give a shout out to a sweet treat that's sort of sweet, sort of not. I don't know if it's a treat, a snack. I don't know what it would be. But we aren't giving Fig Newtons enough love these days. Someone had a box of Fig Newtons they brought in to work. And I was like, yeah, of course. If someone brings in snacks to work of any kind, I will try anything. We've had some legendary snacks come through the Studio 46 building in the last couple of weeks because there were some holiday parties that happened. People were bringing in their post-Christmas, post-New Year's stuff. We had ham and cheese sliders on Hawaiian rolls today. Thank you, Mary, for having a wonderful New Year's party where you bought too much food. She made those up today. They were spectacular, along with some buffalo dip for chips. It was a wonderful day in the building for food, okay? We were living. But people have brought some great snacks in. We've had a lot of candy. Someone had a cheesecake, which is great because they just got the plain cheesecake, and they only ate, their holiday party ate maybe a quarter of it. Well, they put that in the refrigerator and said, fair game. And I said, not for anyone else. That is mine. Anyhow, outside of the gluttony that I have felt through the holidays at work, someone brought in Fig Newtons, and I forgot how much I love them. They are so stinking good. Do not sleep on Fig Newtons in 2026. Make this the year you remind yourself at the grocery store to get yourself a thing of Fig Newtons. You know, you're probably going to go for the Oreos. You're going to see the Oreos and be tempted. And this is fair because Oreos are better than Fig Newtons, okay? So you're going to be in that aisle. You're going to say, Sean Widmer podcast, favorite 15-minute podcast, number one Wordle podcast in America. That he had mentioned to get Fig Newtons. And you're going to go with the goal to get them, and you're going to see Oreos, and it's going to be a problem. Because Oreos in the grocery store hit you with every single thing you could want. As you walk into that section, plain Oreos, and you're like, okay, I'm going to fight that off. And then the Oreos never end. They just keep going forever. And it's like, oh, you said no to plain Oreos? What about double stuff? What about mega stuff? What about the inverse Oreos? And it's vanilla wafers with chocolate inside. Some vanilla Oreos. You like peanut butter? And they just keep on hitting you in the face with different Oreos until you have to have a thing of Oreos. And they're like, gotcha. This is why Nabisco wins. But they also might make Fig Newtons. So, you know, if you are an Oreo person, who makes Oreos? Is it Nabisco? I'm sure it's Nabisco, right? Yeah, Nabisco. Who makes Fig Newton? Fig Newton is Nabisco. So you're fine either way. If you go and you pass by the Oreos for a change, don't worry. You did not spit in the face of Oreos. You just got Oreo's cousin, Fig Newton. And my gosh, they are great. So they're not going to get as crazy. In fact, let me see if there's like flavored Fig Newtons. You know, you're not going to go by the Fig Newton thing, I think, and see Confetti Blast. You're not going to see that. You're just going to get Fig Newtons. Here we go. Homemade. Where are they at? Can I just go to the Fig Newton? Where's the Fig Newton website? That's probably not a place that people are going a lot. Yeah, it's very basic. Fig Newton, by the way, Fig Newton, your container sucks. Okay? It's not helping you. Fig Newton Original Fig Cookie, their packaging is problematic. And someone who works for Nabisco needs to just go right now to, you know what? I'm not above it. Don't use it, but go to AI and say, dear AI, can you please give me 5 different versions of what an awesome package would look like for a sweet treat? And then see what kind of things they throw at you so that your brain is erased from the packaging that they have. The Fig Newton bag leaves a lot to be desired. Because, to be honest, a fig is not this thing that you're going out and you're like, boy, a picture of a fig, that, wow. Yep, give me that. Remember, you're fighting against the other things in that cookie aisle, including Oreos that are going to be right near you. So, you got to really come in strong with the packaging, and a picture of figs isn't going to be the one. All right, let me see here. Also, I'm wondering, are Fig Newtons Nabisco? Fig Newtons. Or are they? Yeah, they're Nabisco. This is weird. Fig Newton's weird, man. Fig Newton needs to figure themselves out. What is Christie? Because I'm seeing here some packaging has Nabisco, and then these other ones have, I don't know. I don't know anything. Go to fig-newtons.com. You can see where all of this problem starts. Fig Newtons are really good. They're in their own way right now because they have forgot that marketing exists. And they have forgot this awesome opportunity they have to be making money. Their website looks like someone made it up with GeoCities in the year of our Lord 2003, 2004, 2001. It just looks like someone has a GeoCities website and they turned it into a Fig Newton page. I'm telling you, go to that page and scroll down to where it gets to Fig Newton's FAQ. Fig Newton's FAQ is 2000s internet. And this is for what could be a dominant snack. What do they label themselves as? Okay, here we go. Fig Newton's Cookie Store. We're going to talk Stranger Things. Fig Newtons blend nostalgic charm with a clever twist of innovation, delivering a soft cookie wrapped around a luscious fig filling. Born from a 19th century invention and named after a quaint Massachusetts town, these iconic treats have evolved while keeping their classic heart intact. With a fruity center that offers a hint of wholesome nutrition, Newtons continue to be a beloved snack that balances tradition and flavor in every bite. Their paragraph is formatted from a 2000s GeoCities website. With the picture next to it, what they teach you to do in beginners computing classes that my daughter takes in kindergarten. The picture it's just a picture. Nothing, they didn't do anything to the borders of it, nothing. It's just a picture of Fig Newtons. Come on, grab the bull by the horns. This is your year, 2026. Update your marketing, get into the mouths of America. That is actually what the theme of 2026 should be. Get into the mouths of America, okay? Everyone live by that.
Kelly's, what are you into?
I finished it, baby. Yeah, I finished it. Stranger Things. It was there. It was great, and I loved it. It was superb. I loved Stranger Things season 5, man. I loved it. Spoiler-free stuff for you to start with. I thought the show was great. I thought it was wonderful. I then went on to Threads. That's the one that Instagram attaches to. And I just watched the hatred, saw all the hatred that was coming on from people on Threads. And I was like, how did that happen? How did that happen? It was a great show, and people were just like, nope, time to dunk. And I think there's just enough people now who don't want to be happy. This is what I've come to decide. This is the non-spoiler Stranger Things talk. I think that there's enough people who just don't want to be happy and don't want to like things that they just will crap on everything. It does not matter. If there is something out there that is polarizing, that's a big event or a big show or whatever it is, they're just going to come out and Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless it, and no matter what, they're going to just crap on it. That's what they're going to do. And that's what it felt like. And I know right now there's someone listening who hated season 5 and they're like, that's not what I'm doing. It is. It is. Because really, you didn't have to watch it. You could have stopped watching. When you were whining about episodes 5 or 6, whatever one was bothering people, just stop. You don't need to finish, but you finished it. You had to finish it because you needed to get on there and make sure that you could tell people you didn't like it. I don't get it. There's a million shows to watch. So I thought Stranger Things was great. From the beginning, from season 1 all the way to the end of season 5, I thought that some of the things that people were bothered by were silly. I guess let's get into spoiler stuff because at this point I don't know when I'm going to say something that's spoilery or not, just because it's I'm just free thinking right now. I did not care that the kids were 24, 23 years old. Some people were really bothered by that. They were like, no, can't. If you go back to season 1, Mike is a tiny baby. Well, yeah, that was 10 years ago. The Duffer Brothers didn't solve the problem of time travel. They didn't film this show in the past. They filmed it now. That's all it is. I talked about this on the podcast before. You know, it happened the way it happened. Okay. If you can't get over that, I don't know what to tell you. I cannot help you. I talked to Andy about this. He was like, well, why didn't they just like say like it was like 5 years later? No, Vecna's not slowing down. He's not trying to connect the worlds. He's not trying to connect the abyss and the world in 5-year increments, Andy. He's got an emotion. We're rolling. The story of Stranger Things starts and ends, and there is already a specific time path. Okay? They're not going to take 5 years later. Vecna took a 4-year break. 5 years later, he's back. No, we're not doing that. They're just going, and you can't help that the kids get older. And you just gotta have to be okay with it. And I was able to watch a fictional TV show and be okay with the fact that that was like that. By the way, if you're watching the video today, very frustrating. I don't know what's going on. My setup to record is garbage. I try to use my old cell phone to record. It like somehow has to connect on Wi-Fi because I can't figure out how to get it to work as an actual camera. And so it's just a mess. It feels like it's very laggy today. I apologize. It's driving me crazy. So yeah, hang on just a second. Hang on. I'll bring it. My wife can't help but text when I'm doing the podcast. It's just, we talk about this all the time. She can't help. I'll bring it when I'm done recording the podcast. All right, there we go. I won't hear from her again outside of the podcast recording window for 2 more days. Okay, so I didn't mind that. People were mad about the fight against the Mind Flayer, which, for the record, D&D nerds, the big, huge spider thing, that's not a Mind Flayer. I know they called it that. Why stop texting me? It's not downstairs, It's in the closet. Okay, phone going away. I will get it when done recording the podcast. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the Mind Flayer thing, not a Mind Flayer, but they called it the Mind Flayer in the show. That's not what a Mind Flayer is in D&D, but that's okay. Well, that's neither here nor there. People were really mad. One of the things I saw that made me laugh, it was a picture of Dustin. He got beat up by the bullies. And then it said, you know, this was what Dustin looked like after fighting 4 bullies, and then no one was scathed by the Mind Flayer, this gigantic creature that is 100x the size of the kids. Hello? Proven. It was proven life lesson here. Opportunity to learn a life lesson. Mike got beat up by the bullies, unprepared. He was not prepared. The bullies jumped him. They beat the crap out of him. Dustin was not prepared. What do you know? Dustin is prepared. There's a plan in place. They've got artillery. And then not only that, they have a plan that's made where they're going to get high ground compared to low ground. The separation on the difference between getting beat up by bullies and avoiding damage from a Mind Flayer, the separation's in the preparation. Number 3 for the Seattle Seahawks years ago said it best. The separation was in the preparation. I can't help you any further than that. If you're not okay with that, well then you've never watched a football game. Separation's in the preparation. Dustin wasn't prepared. He got beat up by bullies. He was prepared. He killed a monster that was 40,000 times the size of him. That's just how it works, man. I can't help you with that. I thought it was great, though. I love the D&D references. I love the D&D stuff in it. I thought the acting overall was good. Some people didn't like the acting. I think I'm just simple-minded. I think I just like things. I've noticed this with a lot of stuff. I noticed this in the food world. I noticed this in the entertainment world a lot. Even with games, I will enjoy a lot of things, and then I will talk to someone else, and they're like, that sucked. And I think, oh, dang it. I was ready to come in with another angle. I was ready to come in and say, that was the greatest sporting event I've ever seen. That was the greatest board game I've ever played. And so, like, with me, I'm very easily entertained by movies and television, and then I'll talk to someone like my buddy Marcus, who hates every single Marvel movie, and I would come over to his house and be excited to talk about a movie. And he'd be like, how much did that stink? And I'm like, well, there we go. There we go. I don't know. I can't help. I liked it. And that's just how it is. And I'm not just being, I'm not trying to just be like an anti the people who hate it. I just like it. There's athletes. I have this with athletes all the time. People will hate athletes. And I'm like, oh, but I would like their jersey. Luka, love him. James Harden, love him. I love entertainment. They're entertaining people to me. Anyhow, I thought Stranger Things was great. I loved the storylines. I thought the plot was fun. I thought it was very entertaining. I loved what they did where they were trying to bring the worlds together. I thought that was cool. I loved the stuff that was going on with the Upside Down and that matter. It was like melting the building, whatever. Like that was just cool to me. I thought that was really awesome. I liked the ending. I liked that they kind of went Inception on the whole thing. And it's like, is Elle alive or not? And what do you want to believe? I thought that was kind of fun. I thought it was a fun way to finish it. Some people were like, well, that's such a cop-out. Okay, well, I mean, I guess, but also, I don't know. I think it's a fun thing to keep you talking about the show, which is enjoyable for me because I would like to talk about Stranger Things with people. The one problem I had was at the end of the season, end of the series, the kids, they graduate high school. You know, these 28-year-olds graduate high school, and everyone was mad because it's like, oh, are they all Billy Madison? Yeah, dude, they're all Billy Madison. That's what it was. That's what the whole story was. They're all Billy Madison. You were right. Complain away. You're right. They were Billy Madison. They were 28-year-olds in third grade. Come on. So anyways, these kids graduate high school, and then they go back to Mike's house, and they play D&D in the basement. Also, by the way, but the kids killed like 30,000. They killed all these soldiers, and there's no repercussions. What action movie do you like? What do you like? Think how boring. Can you imagine how boring TV shows and movies would be if they were real? Can you imagine how boring that would be? It was just like, okay, we are going to do Stranger Things, but we're going to redo it and it's real. And the kids play Dungeons and Dragons to start it off, and then they just go through school. And we're like, what? That was a great show, man. That's a great show. They went through high school. And they went through elementary school and high school together. That was great. Steve dated some people. Jonathan ran weird. Oh. Lucas grew a flat top. Great show. Think about that. That would be so miserably boring to watch. Now they killed a bunch of people. Can't happen. I thought this show was real. Okay, enough of me venting about that. My one problem with it, at the end, the kids go back down. They play a game of D&D. They finish the campaign, and they all take their players' books, their notebooks, and they put them on the shelf. And it's like they retire their characters. They're done with the campaign. And then it shows a group of young kids come in and take over. Holly and her friends sit down, and they are now the new D&D players. And Mike kind of closes the book on that, and he sees these kids take over. And I was like, wait, dude, no. You can still keep playing. Holding it up right now for the van. This is the new Monster Manual, Mike. You can go. You're a little older than me, according to the years on the show. You're 11 years older than me. You can still play it, Mike. You can still grab a book and play D&D. It doesn't have to be the little kids in the basement. Don't hang up the storytelling hat, Mike. Continue to play D&D. That was the only thing I didn't like, was that they, at the very end, made D&D seem like you had to stop playing it as soon as you were 28. And I disagree. Okay, that's it for the podcast, your favorite 15-minute podcast. I got to go find a heating pad for my wife, and we'll get her back right. I don't know what she did. I'll go find that out as well. That's what we got to do. Got to do what we got to do. Thank you for checking out the podcast. If you would like to comment, we'll read the comments next episode. You can go to seanslife.com. We haven't had a comment there for a while. seanslife.com. YouTube, you can comment on the YouTube video, or over on Spotify, where you can comment on Spotify as well. Okay, thank you for listening. Adios.